If you're at a point where you're ready to get into the life and health insurance business and you're trying to figure out where to jump in at, what products you might want to sell, I'm going to go through with you and tell you exactly all the pros and cons of each product line in our business. My name's Jeremy Smith, and over the past 16 years I've been an agent, a manager, an owner-operator, and for the last 6 years a business coach traveling the country to help insurance agents grow their practice. And today I'm going to try and help you grow yours. If you've been on YouTube before, then you know the game. Please hit subscribe and ring the bell. So, if you're at that point, you've decided to get into the life and health insurance business, maybe even already have your license, I want to talk with you today about helping you decide exactly what type of agent you want to become. Obviously, choosing who you're going to go work for, if you're going to go work for a captive organization, if you're going to be independent, that's a really important question. I'll talk about that explicitly here on my next couple of videos. But today I want to talk with you about really what kind of agent you want to become wherever you go working for, in regards to which products you're going to really sell and offer to your clients. There in our business are a handful of different main topics: final expense, Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, long-term care, life insurance, and annuities. Yes, there's a whole bunch of smaller type products, ancillary products you might sell. Those are the main ones in the life and health insurance business that somebody may offer, they may be selling, okay? I want to try and go through individually with these different product lines and tell you the good and the bad about each one, the tough stuff and the easy stuff, the lucrative stuff and the not so lucrative stuff. So let's start with final expense for a second. It probably is one of those fields that probably has more agents than any other field, that and Medicare. One of the reasons why people like final expense so much is because it's one of the easiest learning curves that there is. You're talking about just a small life insurance policy. It's simplified issue, which means that there's not a full underwrite. It's not a full health underwrite. They're not going to go get doctor's records. They can literally just answer about 12 or 15 questions, and if they answer those correctly, it's done. They're approved. So it's very easy to sell. The learning curve is very short. You get paid quickly. That's another big reason why, especially when people are starting out, they like the final expense business, because a lot of times you're getting paid inside of 3 to 5 days of writing the application. Average comp on a final expense is maybe $500 to $700, depending on exactly where you live and the age of your clientele, but that's a good average. Leads are abundant. It seems like you can buy leads from every street corner when it comes to final expense. That's the good and the bad. The good is they're fairly cheap and they're abundant. The bad news is a lot of times they're rewashed and rewashed and rewashed. You're buying leads a lot of times that people have called over and over again for years sometimes. The retention rate on this sale is really pretty high too. I mean, normally most people, unless they find themselves in a position where they can't afford it, once they buy this policy, they're probably going to keep it for their entire life. And there is a small residual income that comes from final expense. That's all the good. My big problem I see when it comes to final expense is that most of the agents that I have met, they're meeting and selling this product, not always, but a lot of times they're selling it to less financially fortunate people. Sometimes you may buy a final expense policy because it's of the health reasons. It might be easier to qualify for. A lot of times, though, the marketing is driven in neighborhoods and zip codes and places where they may be less financially fortunate. And the problem with that is a lot less opportunity to cross-sell and sell other products. And so therefore, they're starting every day, every week, every month, every year, going out and plowing a new field. They're every day they come to work, they got to go find new clients. So their life's not really getting easier by building a database of clients in comparison if you're somebody who's selling multiple clients and maybe a mid-range finance and health range person. Medicare supplements. It's one of my favorite products. It's where I really started in the business for at least the first few months. It's an easy learning curve, just like final expense. One of the greatest things about Medicare supplements is it's probably the biggest market we have. Almost every single senior over the age of 65 has got some type of Medicare. And so therefore, it's just a huge market that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year with the baby boomer bubble. It's got 100% residual. So yes, you may be making half of the comp that you would be making on a final expense. You may be making $250, $300 per sale. But You're getting paid that every year, full residual for up to 10 years. So it's really a couple $1,000 sale every time you use it, or every time you sell it, as long as you're treating your clients right and doing annual reviews with them. The comp's quick. You're probably going to be paid on it inside of a couple weeks. Leads are obviously abundant, just like on final expense. And here's the great thing about it. When you sell this policy to somebody, you're normally not walking out of the home costing them more money than when you walked into the home. You're normally going to save them $2, $3, $4, sometimes up to $1,000 a year in premiums for the exact same coverage they already had. That's premium savings that you could use to fund another sale, like maybe a final expense policy. I think it's crazy, the people that are out there selling final expense that aren't also selling Medicare supplements, because it's a way to double up your sales. And to be honest with you, it makes your final expense sales so much easier because you're saving them that money before you ask them to spend that money. The next topic, real quickly, talk about would be Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage, I'm not going to stay on this topic very long. It's a great product, okay, for the right people. It's a market, it's a product that's growing and getting bigger and bigger by the bundles every single year, and has for the last at least 7 or 8 years. Like Medicare supplements, it's got 100% residual. It's a great way to grow your clientele list. The education curve in the compliance to sell Medicare Advantage is way higher, though, than Medicare supplements. So just know that going into it. The other thing about Medicare Advantage, this is a little bit quirky, is that almost all of your sales, not all of them, but almost all of your sales happen inside of the last couple months of the year in a period they call open enrollment. So a lot of times people do the Medicare Advantage, they use that build client list, but then you also got to figure out something that you're going to do for and sell to make a living for the other 10 months of the year. Jump into the next topic. Let's talk about long-term care for a second. So long-term care, there's been a lot of good and a lot of bad with this product. Let me start with the bad. The biggest thing is the people that have had experience over the last 2 decades selling long-term care have been selling products that have been attached to a serious black eye, because the insurance companies that offered these products over the last 20 years did not know how to price them. So therefore, there was a whole lot of policies sold in the last 20 years to seniors that bought the policy, and as they aged, as they got older, the premium went through the roof. They couldn't afford it, kicked it to the side, canceled it, and therefore it's got a bad stain on it from an industry standpoint. The other big problem with long-term care over this extended period of time has been that the underwriting process has been super cumbersome and painful, long, and a lot of times people don't qualify for those conventional long-term care policies. So that's the bad. If you're still listening to me though and you haven't given up on it, I'm going to tell you that if I was in the insurance business, if I was a producer, I would, without a doubt, I would be selling long-term care. I would be doing what it took to get boned up on the education part of long-term care. And here's why. Over 62% of the people over the age of 65 are going to have a long-term care event at some point in their life. The average cost is over $8,000 a month. That's about $80,000, $90,000 a year, depending on exactly where you live in the country. Average length of time they go through it is about 3 years. So it is the largest financial liability that a senior has. And 95% of them don't have any coverage because of what I just told you there, the bad news part. But fortunately, over these last couple of years, the insurance companies have upped their game, and they've started figuring out ways to combo this particular problem, this particular product, with annuities and life insurance. Therefore, doing away with that crazy underwriting process and doing away with the price hikes, it's really going to be a game changer. And there's not that many agents, not that much of your competition knows enough about long-term care to be able to bring that benefit up in a sale. So especially if you're selling life and annuities, you've got to learn at least the bare minimum about long-term care and how to talk to that with your clients, because it will take your life and annuity sales through the roof. So life insurance, another awesome product. It's probably not something that somebody brand new into the business is going to go in and just sell fully underwritten life insurance. There's a lot of money in it. The problem with it is it's a very slow turnaround. I meet somebody writing a life insurance policy on them. It could be 2 or 3 months down the road before I'm actually getting paid. So a lot of times agents, I'm not discouraging you from learning and being able to sell life insurance. just normally you're selling smaller, easier products, and then life insurance, you sell it when it comes across the desk for you, okay? When it comes to life insurance, there's one big change that's happened over the last 7 or 8 years, and most agents don't even know about this. There's a huge market for life insurance, and here's why. The life insurance companies have finally updated their mortality tables, which has dramatically dropped the cost of insurance. Almost everybody you're going to run across has got a life insurance policy if they're an adult. There is an extremely good chance that if they're still healthy, that you can dramatically save them money or give them more coverage than they had before for the same amount of money, just with the stroke of a pen. So being able to at least look for that, you don't have to sell it. They've already got it. You don't have to convince them why they should buy life insurance. All you've got to do is be on the lookout for somebody that has it, get the numbers, call your IMO, have them run the numbers, and if you can save them money, present it. The sale is really that easy. You just got to be on the lookout for it. Life insurance is a great product. It really is. It's just something, if you're at the beginning stages, you're probably going to couple that with other products. So we got one more topic to talk about, which is the topic of annuities. Before I get into that real quick, if I'm hitting home with you on this stuff, do me a favor and obviously but send me some comments below and tell me your thoughts or questions you might have on everything we've talked about. So the last topic is annuities, and that's probably the scariest topic there is in our business, it seems like, because it's money. People get really afraid to talk about money if they're not an expert. Thing you got to keep in mind is that if you know some, you probably know more than the client you're in front of. But let me break down annuities for a second. Personally, for me, it's my favorite product. It's really what I've specialized in and I think really become probably the best at. Although my agencies, we've always sold all products. I'll get into that here to close things up. So hit you with just a couple of the things about annuities. So average comp is about 7-8%. Depending on exactly where you live, the average premium is about $100,000. So therefore, your average commission per sale is about $7,000 to $8,000 per sale. Average issue time might be 4 to 6 weeks. Let's talk for just a second about the current financial picture. We've had a stock market that's went up for a number of years, straight up. Okay, most people that are in the finance business would tell you the stock market is going to do one of a couple things. It's going to crash. It's going to definitely have a correction, or we're going to get into a stagnant mark. At some point, it's going to have to do something other than going straight up. So when you've got a product out there where you can talk to your clients about that will allow them, and these products right now allow you maybe 90% of all the stock market gains with zero chance of loss. So you tell me which makes more sense, 100% of the gains and 100% of the loss, or getting into products that might allow you to get a high percentage of the gains with zero risk. You talk to a senior and that option B is going to look very attractive. It's a great time to be getting boned up, experienced and educated on annuities and offering that to your clients. Final point I want to make here today, and I hope this little tutorial on these different products hit home with you. The biggest thing I want to express to you is this: if you're at that beginning stage of getting into the business, the hardest thing that we do in our business is to get in front of a qualified client. Okay, so therefore, you get into 100 different client meetings, they're all going to have different problems. They're all going to have different needs. They're all going to have different things you have to find the solution for. So in my opinion, becoming a product specialist and focused in on one product, maybe that's where you start, but I'm very passionate that if you're going to choose this to be a career and not just a job, that you should be aggressively learning all of these different products so that you can hit whatever pitch is in front of you. Because once again, the hardest thing we do is get in front of a qualified client. Once you get there, in my opinion, you better be able to have the solution to their problem. And it may exist in a handful of different products. Once again, please do me a favor and like or comment below, hit the bell. Stay tuned with us now. If you're at that beginning stage, I'm going to talk specifically now about captive organizations, the pros and cons, and also if you're going to go independent, where to enter the business as far as an IMO with that goes. Thanks for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you in our next video.